So, you can also then adjust how you're dressing to your target market.
Welcome back, Strategic Selling Group and all my other followers. Delighted to have you with me again, and I've got a special treat today. Somebody different. Jatin, welcome.
Thank you, John.
Now, Jatin is the CEO and creative director of Montagio.
Montagio.
And I got to know Jatin because I went and bought a suit there. And it's a very interesting approach that Jatin took. Wasn't, let's measure you up and let's look at the materials you want, etc. And it was, what are you looking for? What are you trying to achieve? Who do you work with? What impression do you want to make to your audience? And I thought that was wonderful.
No, well, that's what we do there, John. I think that definitely builds a better, customer relationship. But at the same time, it also helps you achieve your goals in how you want to present yourself, which is quite an important aspect of selling in general.
It certainly is, and we talk about a lot of aspects of that, the way in which we communicate with customers, the type of conversation we have, the fact that we need to be a domain expert and bring value to the conversation, bring insight and take the customer through the thought process and all the stuff we need to do that, rather than sell a product.
Yes.
However, I don't think I've ever talked to the audience about how we need to, what our appearance needs to be and how do we project that and how do we think about that. So that's why I wanted to spend some time with you today, because I think it might be an important subject for the audience to hear about. So let's talk about appearances and how you plan your appearance.
Okay. I would say, how do you want to be perceived by your prospect or client? That's or your target market, target audience. That's kind of the first consideration. What kind of first impression do you want to make on who you're going to be meeting.
Yeah.
And that is how you should decide how you want to dress.
The reason, I totally agree with that. The reason first impressions for me is absolutely vital. As friends of mine that I talk to on video, Ian Lowe, for example, he talks about the three brains, the head brain, heart brain and gut brain, and the fact that even before we meet somebody, as they're walking through the door, we have these perceptions that build. And we do have a gut feel. It's more neurons in our gut than there are in the brain, and so that first impression and to me it's appearance is not the only thing, but I want to talk about more. It's the way we project ourselves, our intent, and intent needs to be purely for the other person and creating value for the other person. All of that, but the appearance is really, really important, isn't it?
It's critical, John. So let's picture a scenario. How you want to project yourself. So, for example, if you want to be seen to be more authoritative, more successful, if that's the initial first impression you want to give someone to set the tone for the rest of the conversation, you should dress in darker colours, more tailored, obviously, more fitted sort of clothes. That sort of let's say a dark navy suit contrasted with a sky blue bold shirt with a gold tie. For example, that to me projects a more successful, authoritative image straight off the bat.
But maybe that's not the right impression for a lot of salespeople.
Sure, exactly.
Because the last thing you want to do is walk into a room and have the customer think like this is a arrogant, overbearing, maybe successful, but I'm really not sure that I'll have empathy with this person. That's a bad first impression sometimes.
It is exactly. So you can also then adjust how you're dressing to your target market. So, for example, if you're going to go meet some tech startup, IT guy, you may not necessarily want to be dressed up all in a suit if you want to be aligned to how they, may perceive you. If they look at you and you're dressed in a dark suit, and looking like that, they may think, "Oh, this guy's a suit. I don't really want to deal with him."
Maybe, But is it real to say, hey, I don't mind being overdressed a little bit for that audience.
A little bit is okay.
But maybe I take a tie off, but still have a suit on.
Exactly. Yeah, you can do that. You can have a sports coat on with a pair of jeans if you want to still keep it a little bit formal, but dress it down a little to cater to how your audience dresses. Because a lot of these, again, take the IT sort of startup example, they're probably just dressed in t-shirt and jeans and sneakers. They're not going to be dressed in suits. So if you want to sort of identify with them a little bit more, then know who your market is. Of course, you've got to know that before you actually go and talk to them anyway. And if you understand their psyche, the way they like to dress, those sort of things, then try and cater a little bit to that.
Would it be fair to say that it's always better to overdress a bit than underdress?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been to a seminar where the guy who delivered the seminar came dressed very sharp in a nice suit, and straight away, he commanded that respect, and that he's a expert in his domain, in his field, knew what he was talking about. That was the initial first impression. Even though everybody in the audience was just dressed in jeans and a t-shirt because it was a weekday, they went for a seminar, but his impression that he gave off was not arrogance, but that he knew what he was talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess, put the other extreme, if you're walking into a set of bankers or lawyers or whatever, and they're all dressed in suits and ties, if you walk in with jeans and t-shirt on,
no, it's not going to work.
Not going to work.
No.
Okay.
No. So dress down a little bit for the audience that doesn't dress up so much,
but still be
one level above. I think.
Smart casual for the really casual guys.
Exactly.
Okay, and this applies to men and women. It's equal.
Yes.
Jatin is a tailor for men, but I know gives a lot of advice in fashion for women as well.
Yes.
So everything you've spoken about applies to both.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no, it's not gender specific. These rules are definitely applicable to both genders.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great advice and something a little different for my audience. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, John. It was my pleasure.
Thanks, Jatin.
Thank you.